through this door lies another dimension. One of beeps, one of boops. A reality where 8-bit and HD clash. This is the point where new retro meet. The 6.5 dimension, protected by the arcade overlord. You have crossed into the turbo zone.
Hey geeks and gamers, welcome to a brand new review of a SEGA Saturn game. I fucking love the SEGA Saturn, and we should all love the SEGA Saturn. I've said this 5 million fucking times. The SEGA Saturn is one of the most underappreciated consoles of all time, and one of the reasons to own a SEGA Saturn is for spaceship shooters. Shooters like Galactic Attack. Galactic Attack started off as a game published by Taito in the Japanese arcades called Ray Force, I believe. And Ray Force was ported to the Japanese SEGA Saturn as Layer Section. Layer Section was also brought to Europe as Gunlock and brought to America as Galactic Attack. That's really confusing. Why the fuck does this game have 4 names? Why can't spaceship shooters just stick with one name? It's the fucking Mobile Light Force Gunbird fiasco all over again, times 12. Jesus Christ. But Galactic Attack on the SEGA Saturn is, like I said, a Taito produced arcade shooter brought to us on the SEGA Saturn, like published in America by the people at Acclaim. It's crazy because Acclaim, they're gone, they're dead. You know, they kind of, I believe Acclaim got sucked up into THQ, if I'm not wrong, and THQ is kind of gone. Maybe it's weird. But people don't really look back on Acclaim all that fondly. When people think of Acclaim, they probably think of shitty licensed games, and like. They published, I believe Acclaim published Turok, which is one of my favorite game series. I love Turok. But people don't really think about the SEGA Saturn. If you have a SEGA Saturn, chances are you're going to own quite a few games by Acclaim. They were one of the few companies that really supported the console. And they did bring some good games to the SEGA Saturn, like Galactic Attack. Galactic Attack, like I said, is a spaceship shooter. It is a bullet hell style game. This game is really fucking good and pretty costly. Honestly, I mean, not as costly as like some other shooters on the Saturn, but it'll still run you about $50 or so. I actually got this thing disc only at a retro gaming store for $3. So Jesus Christ, I was lucky on that one. But the game is fantastic. I really like the way that this game does its shooter mechanics. Kind of reminds me of like Xevious or something, where you have a top layer where you can shoot your lasers, and then a bottom layer where you can like aim the reticule and shoot down there. And a lot of the times, before enemies will actually fly up onto screen, you can get rid of them before they fly up onto the top layer and can attack you, which is really handy. I'm terrible at this kind of games. I think they're fantastic, they're fun, but I've always been more of a fighting game or a platformer guy. Spaceship shooters like this are really fun, but I am just not that good at these kind of bullet hell games. Like my favorite spaceship shooter is Galaga, if that tells you anything. But this game is still pretty fantastic. The music is fucking kicking it. Here on the SEGA Saturn with its CD quality audio, and I love seeing these kind of games. This is where the SEGA Saturn is really at its best, is with these kind of 2D games. The Saturn can do 3D, but man, it fucking rocks these 2D spaceship shooter games. some of you out there probably didn't know that this was a game on the Sega Saturn. Probably, many of you maybe not even played the Sega Saturn. Hey, whatever. You should though. You should give it a try. That's one thing that I love about the Sega Saturn is that it has such a deep and interesting library of games, and you'll find something like this, like Galactic Attack, which has one of the fucking best names in the world, Galactic Attack. That's awesome. Even though it's fucking the fourth name that they've given this game. I don't hear people talk about this much. The first time I heard about this was actually through Classic Game Room, of course. I watched a ton of Classic Game Room back in the day, and this is one of the games that he reviewed and really recommended on the Saturn. I believe it has gone up in price over the years. Well, most Saturn games have gone up in price over the years. So if you really want to play this one, you might want to import it. I believe it's cheaper to get Layer Section than it is to get a copy of Galactic Attack. But the game is really good, and I like the feature. I like the fact that you could turn off the HUD. So if you don't want to see your lives and your score and stuff, you could turn that off and just kind of have the whole screen free of clutter. Galactic Attack not only is my new metal band, but is a fantastic game here on the Sega Saturn. If you own a Sega Saturn, keep your eye out for this one. Like I said, Layer Section, the same game, so is Gun Lock. If you ever see a Japanese arcade machine of, was it Rayforce? That's the same game. This game has 1,000 fucking names. I'm gonna give it a new game I'm gonna give it a new name right now. I'll name it Space Ship Game. Yeah, fuck it.
Hey geeks and gamers, TurboBot90013 here. Remember to subscribe to the Turbo Zone for more content. The Arcade Overlord, thank you. Stay retro. Turbo Zone.